Hey guys, Josh Mabe here with another episode of Sundays on the Range, and today we're talking about shotguns. We're going to talk about shotguns used for home defense. They're hard to beat when it comes to home defense. They're easy to use. They've got a lot of knockdown power. If you didn't have anything else, no other training, no anything, a pump 12 gauge is about as simple as you can get when it comes to firearms. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about the pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages of all the different types of shotguns that you see laying here. So let's start with the most simple. This is a GForce. This is a pump 12 gauge. This one's more of the tactical or defense style. This one's got your pistol grip. It's got your extended length pump. It's got your attachment up here with a Picatinny rail in case you want to put a flashlight or something like a flashlight laser combo on it. This stock looks like an AR stock, looks like it adjusts. This one does not adjust, but everything else on it is just a basic pump 12 gauge. This one will hold 4 rounds plus 1 in the chamber, and it's extremely simple. All you got to do, load into the tube. If you're leaving it, if you want one in the chamber, rack it back, load another round in, and you're good to hang this above your bed. Keep it in a safe beside your bed if you've got kids, or however you want to store your defensive firearm. It's quick, easy to grab. You use 2 hands, so if you wake up in the middle of the night, somebody kicking your door in, you've got a good solid hold on it. You're not as likely to miss as with a handgun if you're not that familiar with weapons. So it's just an all-around good choice for home defense. That being said, these are close-range weapons. One benefit with a shotgun, if you're using something like double-aught buck, the stopping power is insane on these. Like, it's got some massive force behind it. So it's going to work if you've got an intruder in your house. And you have multiple types of ammo for these. For defense, I mean, you can do slugs in here. That shoots a single projectile. It's about 1 ounce of lead. You can do buckshot. Double-aught buckshot, you've got 9 pellets with every shot. Or you can go with something like a heavy game load, like a number 4 or number 6 shot. That one's got a couple hundred pellets coming out at the same time. They have their advantages and disadvantages when it comes to the type of ammo. We'll get into ammo here in a little bit. Let's go over the function of some of these shotguns. Like I said, this is a GForce. You can get these as low as $99 on sale. So that if you're on a budget, you just want something to protect your home and family, it's hard to beat. I've shot a lot of rounds through this one so far. I haven't had any failures. It's a manual system, so you're not relying on gas or inertia driven for blowback like a semi-auto. It's just extremely simple. When you pull back, it ejects a round, you push forward, it loads another round. Eject a round, load another round. And you can shoot as fast as you can work the pump. Another thing with this one is this has got the extended pump on it. So if you look compared to more of your classic style shotgun, this is a Mossberg 500. If you look, you get a little more grip right here versus on this one right here. So if you've got, let's say you or your wife don't have a long reach, you got shorter arms, well, you can reach right here rather than having to reach all the way out. So you got a good close reach right here to keep everything tight. This one and the Mossberg you just saw, this one is a 20-inch barrel. The Mossberg is an 18-inch barrel. Shorter barrel is nice to have, because if you're in your home, one thing to think about is, let's say you're in your bedroom, but let's say you got kids on the other end of the house. You hear somebody kick your door in. You're not going to stay in your bedroom. You're going to go out and try to protect your kids and see what's going on. Well, going around a doorway with a short barrel with your hand out here is a lot easier than if you have, say, a hunting style shotgun with the long barrel reach as this has got. Because when you pull that up, from the front of my hand to the end, that's almost 2 foot of barrel that you're gonna have to go through a doorway with, or you're gonna have to tuck back like this and go through a doorway with. Either way, if somebody's standing on the other side of the doorway, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, if they grab the end of this barrel, especially with both hands, they have control of the weapon. You don't anymore. So there's a very good chance they could fight and get this at least out of your hands, or get it and pointed in a direction where you're not going to be able to use it. You don't want to end up with a fight with somebody. That's the last thing you want to do. It's your house. You're protected. You don't want a fair fight. That's why I'm not a big fan of hunting style guns for home defense. They're just too long. Something like this is going to be extremely easy if you have to move from a static location. Now, if you don't like the tactical look, this one is a Mossberg 500. This was my father-in-law's shotgun. I got it from him when he passed away. This one, it's got a 26-inch barrel for hunting. I purchased an 18.5-inch barrel to go on it, just so it would be better for like home defense. I like that. It's short, it's easy. If you have it at the low ready like this, going around corners, there's nothing sticking out of the doorway that's gonna have somebody grab and everything. If you're up here, you still don't have that much space in front of your hand. You've got like 8 to 10 inches versus 2 foot. The shorter barrel is gonna give you a little bit wider spread, so you're gonna cover a bigger area when you do fire, depending on what you're using. I'm not a big fan of slugs for home defense, because one of the points of the shotgun is to get a bigger impact area. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, you are terrified, somebody's kicking in your door, you want to make the shot count, you've got a bigger area to hit. With a slug, it's a single projectile. Plus, depending on your setup, if you're in an apartment, if you're in a home where you've got multiple people in the household, stuff like that, slugs might pass through some interior walls. If you're pointed, if somebody's between you and another room, that could cause an issue if you're not paying attention to what's beyond the wall behind your threat. So I'm just not a fan of slugs. Slugs have their place. You need to bust open a door, a slug will do it. You need to get some distance past a hallway length, slugs will do it. For hunting, slugs are hard to beat, so they do have a purpose, but my number one go-to is usually buckshot for home defense. I live out in the middle of nowhere. There's no close neighbors. The way my house is designed, I don't have to worry about penetrating walls and hitting anybody, anything like that. So I go with double-aught buckshot in my shotguns for home defense. A lot of people's going to disagree with this next statement because they don't believe that it'll actually work, but I don't. So an option, if you say you live in an apartment, say you live in a house, you got people in other rooms occupied, you never know where you might have to engage a threat. Something like a heavy game load, like a number 6 shot, number 4 shot, something like a turkey load, anything like that. That's a lot of pellets, but they're a lot smaller than double-aught buckshot. You're going down smaller than a BB. A lot smaller than a BB in the case of like number 6 shot. Yes, that limits your range heavily. Anything past 15 yards or so, which 15 yards is pretty good distance, that's 45 feet. But anything past 15 yards, your birdshot pattern with an improved cylinder is going to open up more than this. When you disperse that many pellets over that big of an area, they start losing velocity quick. They don't have as much knockdown power as they should. And depending on the clothing, or if they've got a bullet resistant vest or anything like that on, it's not going to do near the damage that double-aught buckshot would do. However, if you are in a house, the chances of you shooting 15 yards, unless you live in a mansion, is slim to none. So if you're engaging a threat in your home, like you're not busting through a door, somebody breaking in, buckshot's gonna do that, no problem. Somebody's kicking in your door before they kick it in, at least in North Carolina, you can stop them from entering your home. Buckshot's gonna do that. You blast through the door, it's gonna get them. But Birdshot's not going to do that. So we're basing this off somebody's already in the home, and you've got to stop them. At this target behind me, this closer one here on the barrel, measured it off. That's 20 feet. Actually, I'm sorry. It's about 8 yards. So about 24 feet, give or take. That's about the furthest distance most people's going to get in a house, because you got to think most rooms, like bedrooms, are going to be 10 to 14 foot. Most living rooms are going to be 10 to 16 feet. Long hallway, you might get that 25 foot mark if you've got a bigger house, but 24 feet's a pretty good distance when it leaves the muzzle. It slowly starts to spread the further it goes out. At that distance or less, that number 6 shot or number 4 shot is going to still give you massive knockdown power. It's not going to give you the penetrating power of something like double-aught buckshot. So the benefits to that is you're getting the strong force to use against the threat, but any of those shot, if you miss, are going to get stopped in the interior walls. They're not going to keep penetrating through walls. They're not going to go from one apartment into another and likely kill somebody or hurt somebody in another apartment. That's the benefits to using the birdshot heavy game loads, not light target loads. I'm talking heavy game loads, so you get the more velocity, the more power, but the smaller shot. But you take something at 8 to 15 feet, you're looking at a pattern about like this. That's a heavy concentration of a couple hundred pellets. That's still giving you knockdown power without as much worry of hurting other people that might be on the other side of a wall somewhere. Because you have to remember, you're responsible for, when you pull the trigger, you're responsible for every piece of shot, every round, every projectile that leaves that barrel where its final resting place is. So if you're an apartment building or a house with a lot of people in it, and you use an AR, if you miss a couple times, that 5.56 round or that 308 round is going to keep going. It's going to keep going through walls. Interior walls aren't going to stop it. It's going to keep going with lots of velocity, lots of energy, and it's not going to stop until it hits something absolutely solid. Buckshot is going to go through interior walls fairly easy. It's not going to be much resistance when it comes to drywall or any kind of panelings, things like that. So it can still cause damage at further distances through walls. Birdshot, not near as much, but if your threat is close, it's going to do the job as long as you hit, you know, your main areas here. Anywhere from here to here, you're pretty much covered. And I'm going to show you here in just a little bit. We're going to go over the 2 different rounds at different distances and show you how it performs on a target, so you'll get a better understanding for what I'm talking about here. But let's go over the types. You've got your more tactical style 12 gauge. This one is going to give you the pistol grip. It's going to give you the longer forend right here. So for a more tighter grip, you're going to have 2 points of contact. This is a solid setup. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you're going to be locked in. You're looking straight down the barrel. It's 2 hands plus your shoulder, so you've got 3 points of contact plus your cheek here. You're going to be solid. It's got a lot of knockdown power. It's going to work. If you don't like the tactical look, you can go with something like a Mossberg 500. Everything still works the same. Load them in the tube, jack one in, load the last one in the tube, or just leave your tube full. You can always go by the old classic of, if somebody's outside trying to break in and they hear that, it could deter them. So am I a giant fan of alerting somebody that's breaking into my home of what's awaiting them? No, I don't want to give my position away. I don't want to give away what I got. I don't want to give any of that away, because I want them to be less prepared, not more prepared. I don't want them to just kick the door in and come in shooting because they heard a shotgun rack. I want them to be the least knowledgeable as possible about what's on the other side of that door. So I prefer to keep my shotgun loaded. If my AR is not my first choice for home defense. My AR is on a rack with the magazine loaded. I don't have it chambered. This and my handgun, if I'm in that kind of fight, these are only going to be used to get me to the AR. It's not going to be my first choice right out of bed, grab the AR for somebody kicking in my door. First choice is going to be my pistol with a flashlight on it. Second choice is going to be my shotgun. Now this is a basic Mossberg 500. You got your safety on top. You got your pump release right here. Same as the other one. When you rack it, when you shoot, pull the trigger, pump, pull the trigger, pump, until she runs dry. This one had a 26-inch barrel on it. I put the 18.5-inch barrel on it. So if you've got a pass me down from your family, your grandpa, anybody like that, and it's got a long barrel on it, I would recommend picking up a barrel that's shorter, just for those instances. If you're going hunting, swap the barrels out. You're good to go. If you're not going hunting, you're just using the defense round, leave this barrel on it. It's not hurting anything, and it is extremely easy to change out a barrel. That's it, right there. Put the other barrel on, lock it down, tighten it back down. Once you get this tight, you're ready to shoot. Everything's locked in. It's that simple to go from hunting to home defense. So there's your two pumps. The next option is semi-automatics, which I've got these two here. These are both tube fed. This one is a Tristar. This is a Raptor. This is my hunting 12 gauge. I use this for everything from waterfowl hunting, turkey hunting, dove hunting, deer hunting, and if I had to, home defense. It's got a, last thing I hunted with this was swan, so I had to plug it. So it's got the plug in it, so this one will only hold 2 in the tube, 1 in the chamber, because you can't waterfowl hunt with more than 3 rounds unless you're in a conservation season, which is usually sometime between February and March for heavy migrated areas. They have a conservation season on stuff like snow goose. That's unplugged shotguns, unlimited. You can use electronic calls, anything you want to, everything goes. Some people even put extensions so they can hold more rounds. But this one is my go-to hunting. This is not going to be used for home defense unless I'm in a situation that this is the only thing I can get to, because, as I said earlier, that longer barrel. I do not want to have to clear from room to room with 2 foot of firearms sticking out in front of me. So this one stays in the safe. This is not my self-defense gun. If this is all you have, by all means, use it. But be careful if you have to leave your room. Going around doorways or only keeping the gun pulled in tight like this. Because if anybody gets hold of the barrel, they have control of the gun. Be cautious. Don't just rush in through a doorway or anything like that. It's better than nothing. It's just difficult if you have to move around your house. If you're staying in place, if you're getting down between your bed and nightstand and aiming at your bedroom door and you're not leaving it unless they try to come in, this would be perfectly fine. So there's that option. Then you've got your more tactical style semi-autos. This one is the Panzer M4. It's based off the Benelli M4 with the inertia system and everything. I've got Picatinny rails up here in case I need to attach a flashlight, a laser, anything like that. I don't have anything attached to it. I like more bare bones. You got your Picatinny rail back here if you want to put a red dot on it. But for my defensive shotguns, there's no distance. I don't care about a red dot. I like these ghost ring sights. If y'all can see the ghost ring sights there. I like the ghost ring sights perfectly fine. On something like a hunting shotgun, all you've got is a bead. If you look down the barrel there, you've just got a bead on the end of the barrel. You just look down the barrel, put the bead on it, and just point it where you want it. So I'm not putting anything on this. It's going to stay as is. As far as which one's better between semi-auto or pump, it's a personal preference. A pump is manual, loading, ejecting. This is semi-auto, so on this one, it's actually got to use the inertia of the round kicking back to eject a round and then load the next round. kick it back, load the next round. I don't care if it's inertia, I don't care if it's gas. It does up the chances of a jam, a malfunction, something like that. Does it up the chances enough that I would never use this as self-defense? No, it does not. I would use a semi-auto for self-defense. I've got nothing wrong with it. Test your gun, go out on the range, shoot it, get a couple hundred rounds through it, make sure you feel confident with the gun. But you do have to break in semi-autos. You got to get the system worked in, because they can jam straight from the factory out of the box. You want to get some rounds through it, you want to clean the gun up, get more rounds through it. You really want to break the gun in properly before you trust it for self-defense. The benefit to semi-auto is, once you have it chambered and everything ready, all you have to do is hold on, pull the trigger until she goes empty. There is no manual pumping, there's nothing like that. That's the benefit to this, is a faster rate of fire. If you need a second, third shot, it's just as quick as you can pull the trigger. Whereas on a pump, you are limited to how fast you can actually cycle. If you're new to firearms, you might not be able to shoot quite that fast. But if you're familiar with them, I mean, you can shoot a pump pretty quick. The pros to the pump, it's all manual. There's nothing to malfunction unless there's an issue with the round itself. There's not really anything else that can cause the malfunction if it's not something to do with the round or the ejector going out where it won't eject, or extractor, I'm sorry, it won't extract the round from the chamber. It would have to be a malfunction, whereas this would be more of, as long as the gun's broke in, it's going to cycle perfectly fine. But let's say you get a bad primer, okay, boom, it just clicks. Well, you manually have to, if you can't reach up here and do that real quick, or come down here and do that, or like that, you usually are going to have to break your hold to check that. Now, if I've got my hold up here on this one, as you see, I can easily reach up here and manipulate the bolt. I can also reach over here, manipulate the bolt. I can come under and manipulate the bolt. So you've got several options, but it is something that can throw you off. A pump, if you click and get a malfunction, something doesn't fire, you can manually rip that back, push forward, and you're ready to go. If you watch, if I come up, click, if I have to break this, come back down, and shoot again, that took a little bit of time. But if I'm using a pump, and I come up and click and it doesn't fire, it's that quick. I can come right back and go back. If a round doesn't shoot, no problem, just rack it out and go. Probability of a malfunction, a little bit higher on semi-auto than it is a pump, but if you like semi-autos better, as long as you feel confident with it, you've tested it, you've broke it in, there's nothing wrong with using semi-auto. Tons of military and law enforcement have switched over to semi-autos and they work great. It's more of a personal preference. My shotgun that I have now, it might actually end up being a semi-automatic. I really like this shotgun. If I get through the 250 round test I'm going to put it through and it functions flawlessly, I will consider that. But for right now, my go-to shotguns is one of these two pumps. Either the tried and true Mossberg 500 or any, it doesn't matter, any kind of pump. Mossberg 500, Remington 870, Maverick 88, or GForce, or any number of shotguns, as long as you test them and trust them and they function right. Your other option for shotguns is more of your AR style semi-autos. This one is the Tokarev, this one is the TAR12, and I just recently got this one. If y'all saw my other video on it, one thing I didn't like about this shotgun was, see that little indentation right there? This is seated properly. But if I do that with an open bolt, it's overseated. This will not, the bolt will not close right now. You have to pull it back down and then your bolt will actually cycle. That's one thing I noticed when testing this gun I didn't like. Now if your bolt's forward, you can hit that all you want to and it will not overseat. So just one thing to remember on that. But this is your next option when it comes to shotguns. This one uses a magazine. A lot of people love the magazine, especially if you're familiar with an AR. This one is a 5-round, but you can get 10-round and you can get 20-round drum. Now, me personally, because of stuff like finding out that you can accidentally overseat this gun, that alone rules it out of me using it for home defense, because if I'm in an emergency situation, that could throw you off. You emergency, you got the thing locked back, you hit the magazine in it, you push forward and you're ready to shoot and it doesn't do anything because your magazine's blocking the bolt from traveling. Then you got to fix a malfunction before you can engage in the fight. Don't like that. Are higher end shotguns going to have a better seating magazine? Most likely. I'm hoping to get my hands on a couple. We'll do some more testing, but so far this is the first one I've had that is a magazine fed that had that issue. I had a GForce. I didn't like the feel of GForce when I shouldered it as much as I do this one, so I got rid of it, got this one. Love the way this gun shoots. I love the way it shoulders. I love everything about the gun except the overseating the magazine. That's one con for me when it comes to if I'm going to use this as a self-defense gun. That's keeping me from it. But you do have the options of your Picatinny rails up here, flashlights, forward grip, lasers. You got your full Picatinny rail back here. You got your flip up sights. I got a red dot topped on here. It's got the same functions of an AR as far as your selector switch, your bolt catch right there, and your magazine release. Everything is very much AR oriented. So if you're familiar with an AR, you'll be familiar with a shotgun, no problem. They do make reliable versions of this, don't get caught up on that. But once again, anytime you have a shotgun that's semi-auto, especially, whether it's magazine fed, tube fed, doesn't matter, test it, break it in, make sure it's reliable, make sure you trust it. This particular one, I love the shotgun, love the way it shoots, but that one flaw doesn't let me trust this as a dedicated home defense weapon. This is a emergency home defense weapon, whereas if for some reason this is the only thing I can get a hold of, yes, I'm going to use it for home defense, but this is not going to be my first choice for a home defense shotgun. Some people love them. If you watch the new John Wick 4 movie, if you watch Terran Tactical videos, they make some very fine magazine fed shotguns that work wonderful. I would probably trust one of those. The magazine, the benefit to having the magazine, you can have multiple magazines. If you for some reason end up in a firefight, there's multiple people, and since you took out the first guy, the other ones decided to stay and fight rather than running away, you can have multiple magazines loaded and change them out as easy as you change an AR or an AK mag. It has its benefits if you need to fire more than 5 rounds, because it's a lot quicker to eject that, grab another magazine, throw it in, and go back about business than it is on one of these, to where when you go dry, you have to flip it over and start loading one at a time, then pump, rather than just grabbing another 5-round mag, popping in. So the main benefit to your magazine fed shotgun is your ability to shoot more rounds quickly. 99% of the time, you're probably not going to end up in a firefight where you need multiple magazines for just a standard home invasion or home defense situation. But you never know. You can go online right now and find videos of people having shootouts in their house with multiple assailants. So it is possible. That's your main types of shotguns. The other types of shotguns you got are, some people make lever action shotguns. They're pretty cool. If you've ever watched T2, you've seen his lever action shotgun. He wore it on his back, you know, riding the motorcycle, having a shootout. They also make break actions. You can get over and under double barrel shotguns. Flip a lever, barrel breaks open, pop 2 rounds in, pop it up, boom, boom. Eject, pop 2 more in, boom, boom. They make them side by side, or you can even get a single shot shotgun. Any of these choices are better than not having anything for home defense. So you've got multiple things to choose from. Go to a gun store, talk to the clerks, a reputable gun store, talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about. Get the gun that feels right for you, or if you already have an old hunting gun, grab you a short barrel. That's going to improve for home defense situation drastically. I think we went over everything to do with these shotguns. Tell you what, let's go with this one. I need to get more rounds in this anyway to break this in. I'm going to real quick throw my ears on, and we are going to go over the differences in buckshot and birdshot. And I'm going to show you from 20 feet or 24 feet. It's going to be hard to see everything. I'll try to zoom in on the video. But the first thing we're going to do, we're going to flip it over, load the 1 round in. We are chambered, safety's off, aim dead center. All right, it's double alt buck. Let's go take a look at it. So let's walk down here. Now, if you see that, that hole is the wad. That's what was holding the shot inside the shotgun shell. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's all 9 pellets inside the 7 ring. That's at 24 feet. That's what kind of group you're looking at. And that's about the size, my full size hand. I got extra large hand. That's full size. So, okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to pop in a number 6 game load. We're going to see how the spread looks for it. So let's see. Same shotgun, same distance. We didn't move anything. Drop this in. All right, we're chambered. I'm going to aim dead center again. See, it rocked that barrel pretty good. Let's go down here, take a look at it. Now, if you can see all of those little pellets, there's where the wadding of this one hit. But you can see all those little pellets in that target. On the back side, a lot of them didn't penetrate. This is hard. You see some penetrated, but as you can see, that covers the full center mass right there. That is a ton of knockdown power, and at 24 feet, it's a wide group, but not that wide. All of your shots stayed center mass. So that's going to give you a lot of knockdown power at a close space. Is it ideal? No, I would rather have the buckshot rounds. I want the knockdown power. I want the penetrating power. I would rather have buckshot 9 out of 10 times. I'm giving you the birdshot option strictly based on your circumstances. Like I said, you don't want over penetration of walls, anything like that, apartment building, other people you got to worry about. It's not the ideal home defense choice, but that's a lot of knockdown power. That's a lot of pellets. That's a lot of stopping force. And for that situation, that's what I would go with, just for worrying about other people's safety. And most situations, that's going to stop your threat at this range. Let's throw one in the old shotgun here. Now what we're going to do here, this is half the distance. So this is about 12 feet. Let me pull this up here. Y'all can see that. Now at 12 feet, this is, you're in your bedroom, standing at your bed, and somebody walks through the door. So, see what it looks like at close range. People that say birdshot Won't stop anything, even at close range. You see that hole? You see that hole? That's a lot of stopping power. That's a whole lot of stopping power. So yes, at room distance, number 6 shot, number 4 shot, unless they're wearing some massive body armor and they're really wanting to stay in the gunfight, I don't see how something like that won't stop them. Now, we've been over your different shot, your slugs, your buckshot. I didn't have any slugs to test out today. I've already shot those. Let's see if my camera's right. Get this tilted down a little bit. Let's look at the fire rate of some. We'll do these. This one's got a plug in it. I hadn't took the plug out since I hunted with it last. So let's do this one. Let's load up. There's 4 shots. There's 5 shots. Now, let's see how quickly we can run through these 5 shots with a pump. So, did pretty good with a pump. Let's throw 5 shots in the old Panzer. So you can run through those a little quicker. I also stayed on target better with the semi-auto. Semi-autos kick less than pumps do because you're losing a lot of that force for the inertia driven for the chamber to work, for the action to work. So there's that. Now let's see how this one does. There's 5 rounds. I'm gonna send the bolt home because I don't want to overseat it. So we're good there. So all right, let's run through 5 rounds of this. Cycled perfectly fine. Got all 5 rounds off. Stayed a little more on target. Also, the 2 semi-autos, better than the pump. So they're both faster cycling than your pump is. You've got a higher fire rate. You can also stay on target pretty good. When I was going to pump fast as I could, as I pump, you got that movement, plus the recoil, plus everything else. You can't stay on target near as good. Your accuracy is going to run away. Something like a pump, you need to be more deliberate on your shots. So it's going to take a little bit longer. So if I run through 5 rounds where I can stay on target, this is what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It's still fast, not as fast as semi-auto. So you'll see what the target looks like. But that's your birdshot target. 20 shots, 24 feet. And you can tell by the wads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The rest of them are 6. The rest of them are all right here. So even shooting fast like that, most of it stayed on target. And with that spread, you got a pretty good damage area with a shotgun. And as I said, measure some of your rooms in your house. 25 feet is a long distance. That's like a long hallway, anything like that. Your buckshot was a pattern the size of my hand. Your birdshot was about as wide as both of my hands spread out and about the same height. So you're looking at about a 15, 16 inch circle with number 6 shot at 24 feet. If you've got the space, if you've got the house set up, I recommend double alt buck. If you don't have the setup or the lack of people in your house or anything like that, birdshot's still going to do the job. A lot of people, you're going to watch a lot of YouTube videos that they tell you never use birdshot for any kind of a defensive situation. If I'm going in search of people, like outside my house, or if I'm engaging in a fight outside the house, or if I know that there's nobody else that I'm going to endanger with my shot choice, I'm 100% of the time going with double alt buck. That's what stays loaded in mine. I'm not going to load birdshot in my shotguns because of the way my setup is. I don't have to worry about it. But if I lived in an apartment, if I lived in a house where I had multiple people, multiple directions, and other rooms, I'm not going to risk me being tunnel vision, adrenaline pumping, scared to death in the middle of the night, just woke up out of a dead sleep. I'm not going to trust my ability to be like, okay, at this exact angle through this wall is a room, I got to change angles. No, you're going to pull up and you're going to shoot your target. You're going to stop the threat. And if I've got that many people around, or an apartment building, something like that, I don't want to risk it. I'm going to use birdshot. I'm going to know that I don't have distances that I'm going to be shooting past a reasonable distance. So I know my shots are going to be at the furthest extent in my home. In most homes, 25, 30 feet is going to be your max open line distance. So anything under that range, I would rather trust this to stop the threat than risk killing my neighbor through the small, little thin apartment wall, or hurting one of my kids or somebody else in the bedroom next door to mine. I would rather use these than risk that. But I wouldn't use light loads. I would use heavy game loads, something like a 6 number 4 shot. If any shots do over penetrate a wall, it's a lot less likelihood of causing serious damage. It's not zero, but it's a lot less likelihood. The reason I'm talking about this so long is I want to stress that this is not, I'm not saying this is an ideal defense round. I'm saying, depending on your situation, it might be the best defense round for you. Otherwise, that right there is the best thing you can put in a shotgun for home defense. Double alt buck. Anyway, that's our shotgun video. Hopefully you learned something. If not, tell me in the comments. You don't agree with something I said? Let's talk about it in the comments. Let's see. You might be very opposed to ever suggesting birdshot for a defense situation. I'd love to hear the reasons you think I'm wrong. I've got no problem discussing why you think something's right versus why I think something's wrong, or why I think something's right and why you think something's wrong. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But yeah, other than that, like I said, I enjoyed talking with y'all out here on the range. I think we covered stuff pretty good, so until next time, I guess that's about it. I will say, on the next Sunday on the range, I'm going to be joined by special guest Jonathan Humphrey. He runs the channel Pinnacle Outdoor Traditions. It's more of a hunting and fishing based channel. He also goes over some gun stuff. A lot of his are more related to like hunting firearms and stuff like that, but he does a little bit of everything too. But we're going to have him join, and we're going to go over something a little bit different. Since we're doing a little more talking on the Sundays shows, we're going to be talking about guns that mean something to us. I don't know what Jonathan's bringing, but I'm going to be talking about some of the firearms that I got from my grandpa. One of the first guns that I ever fired and ever hunted with. We're going to be going over that, talking about the story behind it, do a little shooting and everything. You'll learn a little bit about Jonathan, and I hope you really enjoy that one. Like I said, that one will be coming up next Sunday. Once again, thank you for watching. If you liked, please like, subscribe, and share. Leave me a comment. I want to talk to y'all. I think it's really fun to engage with y'all and see what y'all think, see what y'all's opinions are. Love hearing different viewpoints. So I hope to see you in the comments, and I will see y'all on the range. Have a wonderful day.